So this is going to be deep, but if you can get it, you got something. Most of you won't get it, but those who get it, praise God. So when man dropped down into sin, he started running on a program. The world, the flesh, the pride of life, fear, doubt, worry, paranoia, all these programs of survival with the energy of the flesh. Bloodline programs. The way to survive without God, through a demon spirit, through a program, the world, the flesh, the pride of life, And so, look at that. That's a program. She thinks that's going to actually make the person move faster. That's a program. The flesh responds. Those people there watching her, and they're probably thinking, how stupid. That's a program. That's a program. Prejudice is a program. Judgmental is a program. There's a lot of programs going on in your mind that if you're not self-aware, you're running on a program. Somebody does road rage, that's a program. The person who responds to the road rage usually responds in a program. Now, some programs you need. Like if somebody pulls out, it's a quick response. It's just a program to survive, right? But when it comes to interpersonal relationships or situations, most people don't even know that everything they're doing is a program. It's sad. Sad. I'm going to find me some more of this for my car. Eucalyptus oil, that helps you breathe. It clears your lungs out. If they send another man-made virus, we got something to fight them. Remember this. Turn this into a program in your mind. If the government sends a virus, go get you some eucalyptus. If they attack your lungs, get you some eucalyptus. There's natural cures. The reason natural cures work is because you came from the ground. Your body did. Now, God can heal anything. When he spit on the clay and he rubbed it on the guy, your saliva has salt in it, right? Your saliva is a cleansing aid, especially from the Holy One. It was a spiritual healing, yes, but salt will heal. Salt has healing properties. Clorox comes from salt. Clorox, the blood. The words reveal the hologram. The words reveal everything. Every name of every leaf, every tree, every grass blade, all the different species of trees and bark and any kind of animal, all that stuff reveals deep spiritual truth because we're in the Word. You're actually in the words. You're speaking words. These shapes are words. That shape is a word. The square. Square it off. Right triangle. Square the circle, What is square the circle? Take the bent and square it off. The circle's the sine wave. Square the circle is get away from the snake, the flesh mind, to the spirit mind. I just decoded something that's been a mystery for thousands of years that the Freemasons brought up or something. I just decoded it right here. And somebody should be falling down on their face praising God that he showed you this. You heard it. Square the circle. What is a circle? It's a circle. And you can plot it on a graph as a sine wave. What's the sine wave? The sin wave. The snake on the pole. And you want to square the circle by nailing that sin wave to the cross by faith. And then the square is squared off. You square the circle. You square it off. A T-square. When you're building something, you want to build a deck, you got to have a T-square. You got to have a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Pythagorean theorem. And so when somebody's giving you deep spiritual truth and solving all the mysteries and giving it to you for free, you ought to be falling down on your face praising God that he revealed this through some prophet or some teacher or somebody. You should be praising God. And the deep mysteries are hidden right in front of you in plain view, but everybody's running on a program to eat and sleep and make babies, and that's all they think about all day long. Even though the mystery's hidden in plain view. The mystery's hidden in plain view. Why are all these signs squared? Statutes. Why is there, okay, so where's the speed limit sign? It's a statute. Why is it called a statute? Statue. It's upright. It's the right thing to do. Why is there a speed limit down here? Why is there stoplights? We don't need them. Because it creates order. I could run this stoplight right now. It's not illegal from God's law to run this stoplight. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to run this stoplight because there's usually no cars out. I'm going to sit here for... what it's for is to teach you how to walk in the Spirit. The letter is to train you to move from the flesh mind to the spirit mind. What's the letter do? The letter killeth. If there's no car, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no cars, do I really need to stop at that stoplight? No. I can run that stoplight because it's not. If I run that stoplight when there's a bunch of cars, what is that? Selfishness. That's dangerous. That's flesh. That's the flesh mind. I was married one time. We were at a stop sign. Or we were at a stoplight or something that was just taking forever. And it was late and there was no cars. And I just ran the light or ran the sign, whatever it was. She said, "Why'd you run the light?" I said, "There's no cars." And I even said it nice. I said, "Look," I think I said, "Look, honey, there's no cars. Look, sweetie pie, there's no cars. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why do you think the purpose of laws? The law is only needed to bring the flesh creatures under subjection. The letter killeth, but the Spirit gives life. If you're walking in the Spirit, you don't need a law. If you're in a Spirit walk, you don't need a law. You don't need a law. All you need is truth and agape. Anyway, back to what I was saying about the program. So everything's a program to survive in 3D until you become self-aware. Until you're aware of your own thoughts. Until you understand that spirit walking is not rule-based living. Almost everybody's under legalism of some shape or form. I got to go to my job. I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. Well, why not get out of bed and say, "Hey, I got a job. Praise God. I'm going to be a help. I'm going to help them on the job. I'm going to be a helper. I'm not going to be a complainer. I'm going to be a helper because I can bless other people." You know? Long story short, I didn't want what I just did on camera. Long story short, when you walk in the Spirit, you break all programs. Let me say it again. When you walk in the Spirit, all programs are broken. But how are you going to do that? You got to die. You got to die daily. This is why marriage is so hard, and especially raising kids. This is why they make it so hard in society. Got all these rules and all these things, all these limits and all these boundaries and. You get boundaries are good. Don't get me wrong. You got all these limits to spirit walking. Here's what I'm trying to say. Let me say it again. The reason that the life that's going on now is because you got all these deadlines. Is what I was looking for. I was looking for the word deadline. Your rent's due. Your power bill's due. This is due. This is due. You got to get here. You got to ship it here. You got to have it shipped on time. You got to get your car inspected. You got to get your car. You got all these rules to follow. Everybody's want to have fun. Really, fun is actually not a good word. Fun actually means means foolishness. I want to have some fun. I've actually decoded the ones that are a Babylon by just that. I actually can. Fun is a program. You're here to worship God. You can enjoy life, you can enjoy things, but most people just say, I want to have fun. That's not why you're here. You're not here to have fun. Who told you that lie? Where did you find that in the Bible? It's not in there. Be content with all things. You're not here to have fun. Why you want to have fun in Babylon? You're here to give out the good news. You're here to be a witness. You're here to be a testimony. You're here to give out the gospel. Yeah, maybe when you're a kid you want to have fun, but what's the purpose of having fun when you're a child? It's teaching you how to interact. It's teaching you how to solve problems. It's teaching you how to face off with a dog, a next door neighbor's dog. It's face-to-face interaction to make you stronger, to get you ready for adult life, to face the obstacles in life, to face off with trouble, to face off with situations. The obstacles in life are to push you higher, to grow you up. Okay, so let's say I wanted to go have fun with the Jezebel. All right. So I'll go have fun with the Jezebel, and what she tries to do? She tries to bring me under bondage. She tries to turn me into her slave. She wants to be queen bee over my world. And I had to admit, well, I first say, I don't think so, woman. You're not going to be ruling me. And then I have to admit, I knew that was a Jezebel because the red flags are always there. I chose to go get involved in that. So she was just giving me what I wanted. So I have to look at myself and say, what program was that based on? Where did I learn that from? Why do I care about a Jezebel? Maybe I was raised around them. Maybe we're raised around it in the media and all. The Jezebel spirits everywhere. Maybe we have a Jezebel spirit we need to die. So when you die to your own Jezebel spirit, and you say, Lord, I'm not going to be a slave to some Jezebel, no matter what. I worked 3 jobs just to break free from this Jezebel system. And when you finally get to the point where you want to be free, you really want to be free, you're willing to sacrifice to be free. But the program from your having fun, you don't want to sacrifice. You can actually enjoy the sacrifice. If you get the mindset of a Stoic, they put that building up fast. 2 weeks ago, none of that was there. I mean, the building was, but the face part was. When you realize that sacrifice, you can enjoy the sacrifice of your goal. In other words, you set the goal and you see the goal. You set a goal and you see the goal, but you know to get to that goal is going to be sacrifice. So you can enjoy the process of the dying daily, the sacrifice. You can enjoy that process. I'm not talking about having fun, but you can enjoy it. And it might be fun, if you want to use that word from the viewpoint of, I don't know how to explain it. You become a part of it. You're actually, let's say you want a goal so much that, like when I was underneath that house, working with an 18-inch crawl space or less, you could actually see the pipe under the house, where that pipe was probably 12-inch diameter. I was in a tight spot. And when I first crawled in, I felt like I was going to have claustrophobia, and I backed out. And I went back under there, and I said, let me just get used to this. I just laid there on the ground. I was just crawling on the ground because I had to get it done. And my claustrophobia went away. And I used to do it when I was younger a lot, because I used to do electrical work I'd crawl in attic spaces and crawl spaces. But if you haven't done it in a while, you can feel like claustrophobic. But anyway, I said, let me just become a part of this. In other words, I know I could back out, even if there's a snake under here, even if there's a spider, even if I do, this has got to be done. It's not a maybe, it had to be done. So I said, okay, I'll protect myself as much as I can and set it up as much as I can. Have me a stick. If I need a stick, I can only do but so much. So the program, the fear program, what if there's a snake? What if there's a spider? What if I get stuck? I overcame the program. I overcame the fear. I overcame the snake. I overcame the spider. I overcame the claustrophobia. I overcame all that. Why? Because it had to be done. And so as I was crawling under there, I just sit there for a second before I went too far in. I said, okay, I got it. I wasn't claustrophobic. I had to get used to it. Crawling on the ground. I should have had gloves, but I didn't have gloves that day. If I'd had gloves, it would have been a whole lot easier. I did have a light, and I did have a flashlight. Anyway, I got it done. The spider webs in your hair, the spider webs, you couldn't even turn your head to look at them because it's such a tight spot. You just dealt with it. Just wipe it off your hair, The fear, the paranoia, the claustrophobia, the snakes, the whatever was under there, which I think there was. I did hear something in there. It's probably a cat. But it had to be done. So I had to overcome it. So I broke the program and just crawled under there, got the work done, backed out, and I was done. It was a program. So just in like everyday life, there's a program. A lot of times you see these women walking together. You see a lot of times two women walking together. That's a lot. A lot of times when you're taking a Uber rider who's a woman, deep down that she has a program. She don't want to be by herself. She's afraid to be alone, or she's afraid of getting mugged or raped or killed or kidnapped or whatever, which is fine. It's a bad world. That's good to have the awareness that this is a dangerous place, but you don't have to live in the program. Now, I'm seeing a lot of these birds lately, and I'm hearing them. And usually if you look at the movies and you look at the writings and the books and you look at the holographic pattern, usually that means somebody's going to be killed. I'm just talking about that because I've seen these birds and I'm seeing them in the trees and stuff, and I hear them. So I'm putting this on record. What's today's date? I can't mess with my phone or I'll lose it. I think it's the 4th or 5th. If it happens, I have it recorded that I noticed the pattern before it happened. Those bloodline programs, those programs where back in the day you'd date this girl and you'd say, "Oh, I'm done. You're crazy," or something crazy like that. She was acting stupid or something, and you knew she was like childish. Well, do you know who my dad is? I don't care who your dad is. That was one of the programs. That's a program. Why does it matter who your dad? Well, we're talking. What are you talking about? Are you your dad? We're relating back and forth. I don't have time for you because you're like a child. But do you know who my dad is? Exactly, proves my point. I don't care who your dad is. That was a program. Children run on programs. Teenagers run on programs. Adults run on programs because you've seen them throw a fit and act stupid. But most adults haven't healed themselves from the programs of their bloodline, their mama, their daddy, their culture, their music. Most people are running on a music program. That's why they have to keep the TV on and the music on. They're running on a program. They're not self-aware. And so my point is, when you break the programs, which is a cube, it's like a closed-in cube, you're running around, you can't escape because you're just running from program to program, to person to person, to thing, to job to job. It's all a program. The reason you leave a job is because somebody's provoked that program in you that you fight or flight. It's a program. You either fight or you flight. I noticed when I was married, when I was in peace, trying to sleep and chill, the wife would run on a program, sometimes slam doors just to wake me up. It was a program. And she knew it would make me mad, so she did it on purpose. I didn't know why she was doing it back then, but I look back now, I know she was running on a program. It's the flesh mind. She wanted attention. Instead of just walking in there and say, I want attention, she's running on a program. So that guy parks here, then he walks back here. Walks away from the building. He's going to see some female where he don't want his car to be seen or towed or whatever. So most people are running on a program, even as adults, and they don't even know they exist. Even the fact that I'm telling you this, now that most of the stuff you do is a program, you're going to resist it. And back to the law. So the letter killeth. So what's the purpose of the law? To show you that your sin, your lying, your cheating, your idolatry, your adultery, your stealing, your cursing, taking God's name in vain, all that's a program. And the law was given to show you that you're in that cube sine wave 666 flesh mind program. And that flesh program, a lot of times you can tell it by a person's demeanor when they're walking. They're walking around like they're prideful, like they're something. They walk around with pride. You can tell it when they're talking. Look at me, I'm driving a Tesla. Look at my house. They're running on a pride program. The world, the flesh, the pride of life. Now within those three programs, those are the base, are other sub-programs. So everybody who's unsaved is running on the world, the flesh, pride of life. A person gets saved, they're still running on those base programs, but there's little secret sub-programs that they know the truth, but these little sub-programs underneath, they're ways to justify what they're doing wrong or whatever. These sub-programs. So those two cars just pulled up, and now they're not walking in the store either. They're walking over here too. Or they act like they were. Everything's a pattern. So you can see the pattern. If these people end up going over here, that means there's some kind of activity because we see the pattern. And so these little sub-programs are like a pattern. When people try to justify what they're doing, like crossing boundaries, I'm getting to my point now. Let's say somebody wants to cross a boundary. Okay, so that guy is the guy that walked over there, and he's meeting up with these people. As soon as he walks up, they walk in with him. So that you can watch the patterns and actually see what's going on. So my point is, the world, the flesh, the pride of life, those are the programs that Apostle Paul talked about, and that he said is run by the spirit of the air, the age, the devil, the world, the flesh, pride of life. Everybody's running on that if they're not saved. Now, it's the same thing that Paul said in the New Testament is happening in Genesis 3, where Eve, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, pride of life, same thing. Same three patterns. But underneath that, let's say somebody's running on the pride pattern. Underneath is a bunch of little programs running that are based on pride. They try to hide it and cover it. So they say, okay, look, instead of them saying, look at me, look at my Tesla. Let's say that they've got a pride thing about Tesla or something. I'm not saying everybody does. I mean, I'd buy a Tesla if I could afford one. Not based on pride. I just want an electric car. Because it's better, it's less to break down, I would think. But their pride, they cover that pride with, they might lean up against it and whatever it is. They use some kind of body language or some kind of words to hide that the fact that they're using that Tesla as their identity and they're getting pride, look at me or whatever. There's little sub-programs. The world, there's little sub-programs. The flesh, there's little sub-programs. The pride of life, there's little sub-programs. The lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, pride of life. There's these little sub-programs that you're running on, but most people never, their whole life, acknowledge it, see it, turn from it, repent of it, admit it, give it to Jesus, because a lot of times these programs are a struggle. And a lot of people, they cry out to God, Lord, take this away from me. Well, that's good. He's the only one that can do it. And that's the whole purpose of the law. My point is this, the whole purpose of the law is to get you to realize you can't do it because in the energy of the flesh is just another program. No matter how many programs you try in the flesh to overcome the world, the flesh, and the pride of life, no matter how many sub-programs you try, you're still under it in the flesh. And so it's in the 3D natural plane, the flesh mind. You need something outside the flesh mind to overcome it. And then when you get saved, you got the spirit, you got to renew the mind, and you overcome it. Like that right there says Co-op Cafe. Co is together, op is OP. And it also goes back to opus, which is above, which is a production. Cafe is to eat. Drink of my blood, eat of my flesh. Together, you do your performance. OP is the spirit in the womb of your heart. Co-op. You need somebody to help you. You need some cooperation from above. Which is the Holy Spirit. And if you try to do it, if you try to overcome a program that you've had, it doesn't matter what it is, paranoia, fear, doubt, worry, guilt, shame, condemnation, whatever the program is, rule-based living, comparing yourself with one another, there's 1,000 of them. So the 3 base programs are here, but there's 1,000 little sub-programs. Guilt, shame, condemnation, works-based, whatever it is. There's 1,000 of them. And you try to overcome through another program, you can't do it because you need something outside the program. And that's the Holy Spirit. And so you renew your mind with truth. See, the world, the flesh, pride of life, that's all lies. These sub-programs are all lies. You need absolute truth. That's why when you walk in the room, these people are running on these programs of lies, and they're trying to deceive, and they're being deceived and deceived. They're deceiving and being deceived. That's in Ephesians 4, the cube. They're deceiving and being deceived. Ephesians 4 in the Greek is the cube. Let's see if there's a balloon or something there. They're deceiving and being deceived. Which is the cube. And notice that cube card has Zion on it. So you have the flesh versus spirit being preached everywhere. And so You walk in the room with these flesh creatures who are deceiving and being deceived by each other. They're deceiving each other. And you see past the world, the flesh, pro-life. And you walk in the room, that's why they attack you, because they're running on a program. You're outside of the program. They can't deceive you. And it makes them mad and they have to run. Because as soon as you walk in the room, you're turning the light on. What I'm telling you is deep. So whatever program you're running on, if it's not absolute truth, if it's fear, worry, doubt. See, one of the programs that's huge it's our survival program, right? That's a huge, the reproduction, the survival program, hunger. This is why fasting helps you break programs really fast. That's why it's called fasting, because you can break a program fast. So when you step into the spirit walk, you see these programs. One of the programs is survival. Survival of the fittest, right? What does God say? He'll take care of you. He won't let his saints beg bread. So you're sitting there worried about survival and all that stuff. When God says, he says, look at the lilies of the field. Do they sow or reap? Do they sow or labor? No. Look at the birds. Do they worry about it? No. Are you a child of God? Why are you worried about it? Yeah, you got work, but God will provide you a job. And the Gentiles, think about the Gentiles who provide you a job. They're all worried. They're running on these programs. And they need you to do that job. And they're sitting there worried about, we got to make some sales. But for some reason, God provides you a job. Even though the Gentiles who are over you, you're a saint, you're the elect saint. So the Gentiles over you, and you're born again elect. Underneath these Gentiles, uncircumcised Gentiles, you have a job. They can't even live in peace, and they're a authority over you a lot of times, but you're in peace. Why? Because they're running on programs. The program won't give you peace because it's the AI flesh mind. The AI flesh mind is a program. And if you really wake up to it, I just saw that guy in that truck had a dog. So most of your animals are running on program. And so you, as a spirit-filled believer, you don't have to be like a dog or a cat. You don't have to run on a program. You can overcome that. But the secret is to see it and admit it. Otherwise, you stay in the program and the cry out to God to break the program, whatever that bloodline program is or culture line. God